Shalom. It's been a while since I did a live. So, guys, gotta excuse me. Hold on. Let me see something real quick. I'm about to get these headphones real quick so I can see if this is breaking up or not, just so you guys don't get the echo. But before I do this live, I'm gonna lay down some ground rules for my mods and for people that's coming in. Shabbat Shalom to everybody that, keeps the Shabbat or the Sabbath. Hello, Diane. See you in the chat. Just give me a second. Just give me 1 second. All right. Let me see. Let me see. All right. So I sound fine. So I don't know how many people is in Jamie's Discord, but for the mods, I'm about to lay some ground rules real quick. So, rule number, let me see. Let me go back in here real quick. Rule number 1, these are the stipulations for timing people out. If anybody comes in here being disrespectful, disrupting the live, not on topic, or coming to teach whatever they're trying to teach, time them out. And if anybody comes in here with any racist comments, let me know. I'm gonna be looking in the chat. Anybody come in with any racist comments, they're automatically going to get banned. So those are the ground rules. And no matter what, if no one's being disrespectful, don't time them out or anything like that. And all that good stuff. I just want to lay those ground rules, seeing as some people, come in being disruptive or wanting to, preach their own, teach their own teachings in the chat. So if you guys see any of that stuff going on, anybody disrupting the chat, being disrespectful, not on topic with the discussion, then you would time them out. But again, on both sides, no racist comments. There will be a very strict dealing with that. So without further ado, let's get into this live. Before I start, I want to touch on this article, and then I'll get into this whole study. So let's see here. I'm gonna share my screen. I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to read this. I found this very, very interesting of what's going on, and I know a lot of people don't follow up on some of this stuff, but I tend to. So I just want to start with reading this article here, and then I'll get into the parallels between Daniel and Revelation, the book of Revelation. Now, some of the stuff in Revelation has already happened. I think I'm going to have to bring up Daniel 2 to get that timeline. Then I'm going to go Daniel 7, Daniel 10, 10, 11, 12, and then we'll touch on some stuff. We'll go into Revelation, and we'll see how most of this, where most of the stuff is going to happen, how the stuff is going to happen, and stuff like that. So let me see, because I'm at the. All right. So it says the economy probably just plunged into a recession. I was telling people about this, and this was one of the things I was harping on about this year. How this year or this next collapse is going to make 2008. It's going to make 2008 look like Disneyland. So let's take a look. Take a look at this article here. The economy probably just plunged into a recession, according to a real-time data tracker used by a key Federal Reserve bank. And as you see at the bottom of this title here, says Elon Musk and Katie Wood have said we're already in a recession, and more Wall Street banks see it. Now, one of America's central banks seem to agree. So this shouldn't surprise anybody dealing with the food shortages and stuff like that, everything that's going on. And this is a very funny picture because this is kind of what it seems like the world is doing, putting their head in the sand or in a hole. But I'm gonna read a little bit of this, and then we'll get straight off into the study here. It says there's been no shortage of recession predictions so far this year, with everyone from J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon, whatever, to billionaire investor Carl Icahn or whatever, warning of the potential for an imminent economic downturn. And the reason why I'm reading this is because it's some stuff that's gonna be brought up and mentioned here when I go into these two books or into this book. But some experts have gone even further, claiming that the United States is already in the midst of a recession. The only thing missing is the official declaration. In May, Elon Musk said the U.S. was probably in a recession that could last up to 18 months. 18 months is a year and a half. Okay, and this would span out a little bit longer than what happened in 2008. I believe in 2008 we were in a recession for I think it was about 6 to 8 months or whatever, but I would have to look that up. And argued it will be tough going for many. Then just this Tuesday, ARK investor Katie Wood said she agrees with CEO Tesla CEO and the world's richest man, pointing to rising inventories at retailers as a sign of growing economic weakness. So basically, let me go down a little bit to this part right here. Where is it? I believe it's right here. Let's read right here, and I'm gonna keep this kind of short. I'll go and look at this. It's let's see the title. This was just yesterday. July the 1st. All right, I'm sorry, I had to check. I had to check my connection real quick. Sorry about that. But you guys can go and look this article up. Came out yesterday. I don't know if anybody got Google News or anything like that, but this stuff, tends to pop up in my feeds, and I read it and I'll say, just see how interesting it is. So, of course, not everyone is convinced that the latest GDP tracker data means we've hit a true recession. Quote, it's increasingly likely that the U.S. real GDP contracted for 2 consecutive quarters in the first half of 2022. But unless the U.S. starts to see outright job losses, which they're not going to report, it has been a lot of people losing their job. As I've looked, you got all these companies basically laying people off, or basically firing, whatever you want to call it. But there's been a lot of people being laid off in tech companies and things of that nature. This period looks more like a slump than an outright recession. Bill Adams, chief economist of Comerica Bank, told Fortune on Friday. I think I skipped some. Anyway, I forgot where I was. Oh, here it is. This is what it was. So they basically, I'm just going to give a brief summary. So talks about that there was a 1.6% decline in GDP in the first quarter. So they say it would mean 2 consecutive quarters of a shrinking economy, and therefore a recession. Then they get to talk about ever since World War II has included still every recession since World War II has included a 2-quarter consecutive decline in GDP. And that definition remains widely acceptable on Wall Street. So basically, they're basically saying that we're either in the middle of, or we're about to enter into, a recession. But, they say that there was no job loss and all that stuff. So I just wanted to keep that a little short. I thought that was very interesting, reading that, and also looking at all the other stuff going on with, gas prices and food shortages and things of that nature. So I'm going to get into this here. Just let me check my connection real quick, because I got to periodically check to make sure I'm not lagging or anything. So I think I'm going to start off with Daniel 2 real quick. Let me go to Daniel 2. I'm not going to read all of Daniel 2. I'm just going to go to this part here, dealing with the 4 beasts. Okay, everybody should already know this. I did a study on this a while ago, but I just want to go to the 4 beasts just for, historical insight. So this talks about the interpretation of the vision of Nebuchadnezzar. And it's the same vision that Daniel has, but, we'll get into all that. So the Gabriel, one of the angels that sits at, basically one of the Most High's 4 archangels, says this to him, and giving him the interpretation of the Nebuchadnezzar's law. And I just want to go through these kingdoms and then I'm going to go straight on to Daniel 7, Daniel 10. I might do another live touching on Daniel going into 8 and 9. But for right now, I want to focus on this, put these parallels into place because these are where the parallels are found. So it says here, this is the dream. And if you guys want to know these Hebrew words as you see here, then I'll go into those. But for the most part, I'll try and keep it short. So the interpretation, Babylon is the first kingdom. Now we already know that, this was around the time they were in Babylonian captivity, somewhere in that time period. So it says, this is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. Thou, O king, art a king of kings, for the God of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power, strength, and glory. And whatsoever the children of men, and wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven hath he given into thine hand, and have made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold. So this is talking about the statue. When you read this chapter, this whole chapter, it's talking about the statue Nebuchadnezzar has a dream about. So the first one, the first kingdom, is Babylon. Then the second is the Medes and the Persians and Greece. After these shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. So this already happened. Then it goes into Rome, the last kingdom. It doesn't really, give the, kingdoms here. As you see, Babylon is the first. They don't put second and third. You read that in the text. So the fourth kingdom shall be as strong as iron, for as much as iron breaks in pieces to subdue all things. And as iron that break in pieces, breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou saw the feet and the toes of part of potter's clay and part of iron. Now, I've been over this before, how in Isaiah, it talks about we're the potter's clay. Humanity basically is the potter's clay. Okay. And part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of iron, for as much as thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay. And as the toes and the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so shall the kingdom be partly strong and partly broken. So now this is talking about right here. This is talking about the kingdom, last kingdom. Then it says, whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of man, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. Then it goes into the divine kingdom. We know that this is when new heaven, new earth, new Jerusalem comes to earth right at the end of this age that we're currently living in. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom, which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever and ever. For as much as thou sawest the stone was cut out of a mountain without hands, and that it break in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great God hath made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter. And the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof is sure. And we know that Daniel was promoted. So I just want to read that part. You go into Daniel 7. I've been over this study many times before. Talks about the vision of the four beasts. This is the same dream Nebuchadnezzar has, but Daniel sees it differently. And the reason why I'm going into Daniel 7 is, once again, these same beasts are mentioned here. In verse 2, chapter 13, Revelation, right? This is dealing with, we all know that this is dealing with the last days, great tribulation, and the judgments and the wrath. So we're going to read this here. Then we're going to go into Daniel 10 and read even more. And we're going to go into Daniel 12, the very last chapter. And we're going to go into Revelation and see where and when all this stuff is going to happen, how this stuff is going to happen. So it says, in the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon. So we understand that this was when they were in Babylonian captivity. Daniel was talking to the king of Babylon. Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of heaven strove upon the great sea. Four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. And I think I'm gonna bring up that coin later on, because again, that coin got this first one here, the lion with the eagle's wings, how they're equating Trump to King Cyrus. But I'll see if I can squeeze that in. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. Let me just do this here, just so I can show you. I always showed this coin. I've showed it many times, but so you see what I'm talking about. This, see, let me see here. Let me go really quickly. Just give me 1 second. All right, I had to move into the garage. Sorry about that. So I had to move into the garage because for some odd reason, I don't know why my connection doesn't work in the house. But anyway, back to what I was saying, just in case you guys missed anything I said. Let me get this here. Let me see. All right, sound a little bit better. So as I was saying, was this coin here that I'm about to show, how they're, let me see here. Let me blow this up so you guys can see it really good. So this right here is King Cyrus here. This is King Cyrus in there, basically trying to equate, Trump to King Cyrus, as you see. So this is going to come up. I probably might just read, think that's Daniel 9. I'm going to do Daniel 9, 10 and all that, probably Daniel 9 and 10 before I get to 10. After this, I'm going to do 9 and then 10, then 12. And as you see on this coin, it says Isaiah. What is that? Let me see if I can find a clearer one with the back of this temple coin here. Let me see. Because it says Isaiah, I think that's Isaiah 60 verse 5. I'm not sure. Let me see here. Let's see. Let me see if I can find 60 verse 8 right here. It says Isaiah 60 verse 8 at the bottom. So so there you see Isaiah 60 verse 8. So that's why I'm showing this, because in Daniel it talks about that 70-week period, and it deals with, basically deals with the last time. Give me a second. This connection, man. Let me see, because I hear my stuff breaking up. So let me see real quick. All right, I sound kind of all right. But anyway, let me just try and get through this stuff. So we see in here, it says the saw beast. Oops, wrong one. Daniel. So it says here, the first was like a lion, had eagle's wings, and I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted from the earth and made stand upon his feet as of a man, and the man's heart was given to it. And behold, another beast second, like a bear, like to a bear, raised itself up on one side and had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, arise, devour much flesh. So this would be the Medo-Persian, as we seen in Daniel chapter 2 there. After this, I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast also had 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. Let's talk about Greece. After this, I saw in the vision 4 beasts, dreadful and terrible, strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. Now, Daniel 7 verse 7, just keep that in mind about the 10 horns when we get into the book of Revelation here. All right, Diane, I see you said I'm coming in good. That's cool. Thanks. So it says here, I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, for whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots, and behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things. So these parts here, this part here, the 10 horns and the mouth speaking great things, this is going to come up later. This is going to come up later in the book of Revelation, and 13 actually. So the Ancient of Days reigns. And I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and his hair, the hair of his head, like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were open. So this also, the judgment was set, and the books being open is also going to be mentioned in Revelation. And we're going to get into all that stuff here. And I beheld then, because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake, I beheld even till the beast was slain. We understand that, when they say, when this is talking about the beast, we understand it's talking about the Antichrist, the last Antichrist, the final one that's going to basically rule the whole world. And his body destroyed and given to the burning flame. As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and a time. The Son of Man presented. So for anybody that, I know there's many people in certain communities that don't believe that the Messiah was basically spoken about in his second coming, is mentioned in the Old Testament. And we'll get that as well, because this part also is going to be brought up in the book of Revelation. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven. We understand that he's called the Cloud Rider in the book of Revelation as well. So one like unto the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven and came to the Ancient of Days. The Ancient of Days is his Father, and they brought him near before him. And there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. Okay, so this is another thing that's going to be mentioned in Revelation. And while I don't agree with certain people's teachings about, basically how all nations, languages, and people are going to be serving a specific people group. It's not what the Bible says. Okay. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. So whenever the Most High gives one of his prophets a vision, or even his apostles a vision, he always gives the explanation of it. Okay, so this is the vision, the interpretation of the vision. And this is what he's going to tell Daniel. And we're going to move on into 9, 10, and 12. So it says here, I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit and in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me. I came near unto one of them that stood by and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me and made me know the interpretation of the things. Says here, these great beasts which are four kings which shall rise out of the earth. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever and ever, even forever and ever. Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which is going to be mentioned in Revelation. Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron and his nails of brass, which devour and break in pieces and stamp the residue with his feet. And of the 10 horns, now here go the 10 horns again, which is going to be mentioned in Revelation. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth, that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them. This is also going to be mentioned in Revelation chapter 13. Until the Ancient of Days came and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High. And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth. We just read this in Daniel 2, who the fourth kingdom is. Which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and tread it down and break it in pieces. Now, if you guys know anything about, America being ran off Roman Latin law, then you'll understand most of this stuff. And of course, Rome never fell. So that's why Rome is described as the last kingdom. Here it is. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise. This is mentioned in Revelation 17. And another shall rise after them, and shall be diverse from the first, and shall subdue 3 kings. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time. Some people would equate this right here when they're given into his hand as that 3.5 period of the 7 years of basically the 7 years of tribulation. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. Hitherunto is the end of the matter. As for me, Daniel, my cogitations so much troubled me, and my countenance changed in me, but I kept the matter in my heart. So we're going to go into, we're just going to read some of Daniel 9 here. And why I showed that temple coin there. So now this is in the first year of Darius, the son of Asurius. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. I probably butchered the name. The seed of the Medes. So now that from Babylon to the Medes, which is Medio-Persia, which was made king over the realm of the Chaldeans. In the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, understood by books the number of years whereof the word of the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah the prophet, that he would accomplish 70 years in the desolation of Jerusalem. Now, people say this is 70 AD or whatever, but this is talking about something else. This is also a part of an end time prophecy. Not all of it, but it's a part of this that's basically talked about what's going to happen in the end times. And I set my face unto the Lord God to seek by prayer and supplications with fasting and sackcloth and ashes. Basically, when they did the sackcloth and ashes thing, that was a sign of a sign of repentance. I prayed unto the Lord my God, and made my confession and said, O Lord, the great and dreadful God, keeping the covenant and mercy to them that love him and to them that keep his commandments. This is also going to be mentioned in Revelation, the keeping of the commandments. We have sinned, and this is basically talking about Israel here. We have sinned and committed iniquity and have done wickedly and have rebelled, even by departing from thy precepts and from thy judgments. So basically, the laws or whatever. Let me just go into this word for precepts here, and you'll see this is talking about the mishpah or the mitzvah, the commandment of God, commandment of code of wisdom, commandment of man. So law, ordinances, precept, commanded, commandment. That's what the mitzvah is. And you see all these places where it's mentioned in the Old Testament. And you go down here, you get this from the Hebrew Chaldean lexicon. A command, a precept. 2 Kings 18:36, especially used for the precepts of God. Deuteronomy 6:1, 6:25, 7:11. Of a human teacher. Proverbs 7:1 and 2. The idea of prohibition is found Leviticus 4:13. Any of the commandments of Jehovah or Yahuwah or whatever you want to call them, which ought not to be done, i.e. things prohibited by his precepts. And then it says what was due to the Levites, Nehemiah 13:5, and all that stuff, right? So this is a very useful tool if you want to find out most of the meaning to most of these words and what they were used for in certain times, because this word precepts here is, it has different words to it. So there's one word and there's another word for precept. Neither have we hearkened unto thy servants the prophets, which spake in thy name to our kings, our princes, and our fathers, and to the people that, and to all the people of the land. O Lord, righteousness belong to thee, and unto us confusion of faces, as at this day, to the men of Judah, to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, to all Israel that are near and that are afar, through all the countries whither thou hast driven them, because of their trespass they have trespassed against thee. And this is, I'm not going to get into who used this and for what, but you all know what this is being used for, and it's totally taken out of context. O Lord, to us belong confusion of face, to our kings, to our princes, and to our fathers, because we have sinned against thee. To the Lord our God belong mercies and forgiveness, though we have rebelled against him. Neither have we obeyed the voice of the Lord our God to walk in his laws, which he set before us by his servants the prophets. Yea, all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of God, because we have sinned against him. So this is talking about the Deuteronomy 28 curses, the stipulations for the blessings and the curses and all that stuff, right? And he hath confirmed his words which he spake against us and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil from under the whole heaven, have not been done, have been done upon Jerusalem, as it is written in the law of Moses. All this evil shall come upon us. Yet may we not our prayer before the Lord our God, that we might turn from our iniquities, wickedness. That's what iniquities mean, just so you guys can know of all. Perversity, depravity, iniquity, guilt, or punishment of iniquity, guilt of iniquity, guilt as great, guilt of condition, consequence of, or punishment for iniquity. Iniquity is just basically a fault, mischief, sin, So just so you guys could understand what that word iniquity is and understand thy truth. Therefore hath the Lord watched upon the evil and brought it upon us. For the Lord our God is righteous in all his works which he doeth, for we obeyed not his voice. So let me just go down a little bit. So that was basically Daniel's prayer about, Israel transgressing the law. And then we understand that the curse was, poured out and all that stuff. And while I was speaking and praying and confessing my sin and the sin of my people, Israel, and presenting my supplication before the Lord my God for the holy mountain of my God. Yeah, while I was speaking in prayer, even the man Gabriel, whom I had seen in a vision at the beginning. So this is Gabriel was telling him all these interpretations of the visions that he was having, being caused to fly swiftly, touched me at the time of the evening oblation. And he informed me and talked with me and said, "O Daniel, I am now come forth to give thee skill and understanding. At the beginning of thy supplications, the commandment came forth, and I am come to show thee, for thou art greatly beloved. Therefore, understand the matter and consider the vision." So this is talking about 70 weeks in the Messiah. 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon the holy city to finish the transgression and to make an end of sins and to make reconciliation for iniquity. So see what this word reconciliation means, because this is talking about purging away, cleansing, right? To cover, to pitch. To cover, purge, make an atonement, make reconciliation, cover over with pitch. And basically it's talking about atone for sin. It's talking about, basically, what Christ came to do. 70 weeks in the Messiah. To make reconciliation for iniquity, to bring in an everlasting righteousness, and to seal up the vision of the prophecy and to anoint the most holy people, the most holy. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah, the Prince, shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. The streets shall be built again, and the wall even in troublous times. We understand that when we read this, it hasn't happened. They tried to build it under Cyrus. I believe when I was reading that they laid a cornerstone, and they were going to complete the construction, but it was never accomplished. I think they tried a few times. That'll probably be another study going into that. After 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood, and unto the end of the wars desolations are determined. And he shall confirm a covenant with many for 1 week, and in the midst of the week, let's talk about the 7 days, which would be the 7 years. And in the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease for the overspreading of abominations. He shall make it desolate even until the consummation. So the consummation is basically an end of all things. Let's look at this, right? Completion, termination, full end, complete destruction, consumption, annihilation. And this is talking about basically, let me go down here. So completion, perfection, hence, this is talking about in 2 Chronicles 12:12, Ezekiel 13:13, altogether Genesis 8:21, Exodus 11:1, consumption, destruction, to make consumption, to destroy altogether. And this is talked about in Jeremiah 4:27, 5:10, Nehemiah 9:31. Nahum 1:8-9, followed by Jeremiah 30:11. And we understand Jeremiah 30:11 is talking about end time thing. Ezekiel 11:13, end time. Jeremiah 5:18, 46:28, talking about end time events. Okay, so for those that, want to do these looking into, so this is talking about the consummation period. So let's go on to Daniel 10, right? Daniel 10. Daniel is terrified by a vision. So he's still in Persia. Actually, this is Persia. So we just read Daniel was in Babylon. Then he was in the Medes. Now this is Persia. Let me go back real quick and show you in Daniel 2. Right. Just went over this. So first kingdom was Babylon. We understand Daniel was there. Let me go down. Where is it? Right here. So first was Babylon, then the Medes, then Persian, and Greece. Then the fourth kingdom is Rome. Okay. Oops, wrong one. All right, so let's go back to 10 here. So in the third year of Cyrus, right, we was just talking about this, how they're equating Donald Trump to King Cyrus. So in the third year of King Cyrus, king of Persia, a thing was revealed unto Daniel, whose name was called Belshazzar. And the thing was true, but the time appointed was long, and he understood the thing and had understanding of the vision. In those days, I, Daniel, was mourning 3 full weeks. I ate no pleasant bread, neither came flesh nor wine in my mouth, neither did I anoint myself at all, till 3 whole weeks were fulfilled. And in the 24th day of the first month, which is Nisan or Abib, whatever you want to call it, as I was by the side of the great river, which is Hiddekel, and we understand Hiddekel, when you read about the location of the Garden of Eden, this river right here was mentioned as one of those 4 rivers where the Garden of Eden was located. Then I lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Uphaz. His body also was like the beryl, and his face as the appearance of lightning, and his eyes as lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass, and the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude. This is also mentioned in Revelation. I, Daniel, alone saw the vision, and the men that were with me saw not the vision, but a great quaking fell upon them, so that they fled to hide themselves. Therefore I was left alone and saw this great vision, and there remained no strength in me, for my comeliness was turned in me into corruption, and I retained no strength. Yet heard I the voice of his words, and when I heard the voice of his words, then was I in a deep sleep on my face, and my face toward the ground. Daniel comforted. And behold, a hand touched me, which set me upon my knees and upon the palms of my hands. And he said unto me, O Daniel, a man greatly beloved, understand the words that I speak unto thee, and stand upright. For unto thee am I now sent. And when he had spoken this word unto me, I stood trembling. So then he tells him about this. Then said he unto me, Fear not, Daniel, for from the first day that thou didst set thine heart to understand and to chasten thyself before thy God, thy words were heard, and I am come, for thy words. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia. Now I'm come to make thee understand what shall befall thy people in the latter days, last days. Let's hit this word for latter for you guys that probably don't know. Akarif. End, latter, last, posterity, reward, hindermost, after part, end, issue, event, latter time, prophetic for future time. So this is talk about for the prophetic for future time. Let's go down here. You'll see it here. Daniel 10 is under this part B. So we're going to look at, where is this? Yeah, part B. As you see here, Daniel 12. Daniel 12. Daniel 10:14 says here, of the period of Gog's attack upon restored Israel. Daniel 2, that's the Aramaic. Daniel 10, of the age of Antiochus Epiphanes. Go here. Where is it? So this is talking about all this. You guys go in here and look. It tells you the history time period. Some of this stuff talks about the idea or messianic future. This is where all this falls under. So let's go back. Yet the vision is for many days. And when he had spoken such words unto me, I set my face toward the ground, and I became dumb. And behold, one like the similitude of the sons of men touched my lips. Then I opened my mouth and spake and said unto him that stood before me, O my Lord, by the vision my sorrows are turned upon me, and I have retained no strength. For how can the servant of this Lord, my Lord, talk with this my Lord? For as for me, straightway there remained no strength in me, neither is there breath left in me. There came again and touched me one like the appearance of a man, and he strengthened me. And he said, O man, greatly beloved, fear not. Peace be unto thee. Be strong, be strong. And when he had spoken unto me, I was strengthened and said, Let my Lord speak, for thou hast strengthened me. Then said he, Knowest thou wherefore I come unto thee? And now I will return to fight with the prince of Persia, and when I am gone forth, lo, the prince of Grecia shall come. So this is when he was talking to Daniel, or basically showing Daniel the vision of Nebuchadnezzar. So right now he's already in Persian captivity. Then he says that Grecia will come. But I will show thee that which is noted in the scripture of truth, and there is none that holdeth with me these things, but Michael your prince. So then it goes into Daniel 11, I believe, talks about the whole thing with Persia. But we're going to focus on all the end time stuff here. All the stuff that has not happened yet. Time of the end was titled here. And we'll see this also mentioned in Revelation. And at that time shall Michael stand up. Excuse me. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the people, for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, which everybody says is the tribulation, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. And we're going to get into that in Revelation. We're going to go through most of the stuff in Revelation. This is also talking about in Revelation. This whole chapter basically is talking about Revelation. This right here. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life. This is the first resurrection mentioned in Revelation 20. And some to shame and everlasting contempt. This is talk about the second resurrection. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament. And this is talking about the sea of glass here. Mentioned in Revelation, those people standing on the sea of glass mingled with fire. And they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words. So Daniel's told to shut the words and seal the book even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased, which is what's going on now. Then we're going to see what he's going to say in these last couple of verses. He's going to give us a timeline here. Then I, Daniel, looked, and behold, there stood other two, one on this side of the bank of the river, and the other on that side of the bank of the river. And one said to the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, how long shall it be to the end of these wonders? And I heard the man clothed with linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and swear by him that liveth forever, that it shall be for a time, times, and a half. So this is what he saw in Daniel 7, when it said that, they shall be given into his hand for a time, times, and the dividing of time. And he shall have, and when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished. And I heard, but I understood not. Then said I, O my Lord, what shall be the end of these things? And he said, go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed till the time of the end. Many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. And from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolate is set up, there shall be 1,290 days. So let's go over here. $1,290 days converted into years is 3.5 calendar years, 3.53 calendar years to be exact. Blessed is he that waiteth and come to the 1,305 and 30 days, 1,335 days. But go thy way, Daniel, but go thy way till the end be, for thou shalt rest and stand in thy lot at the end of days. So that's talking about there. Let me take this off. Before I get into Revelation 13, let me see. I'm going to go into Revelation 7 real quick. Some of that stuff in Daniel is being talked about. Maybe I should have left that up and did a little parallel. Let me get that back up here. Let me see. Give me a second. Start off with Daniel 7 here. We're going to see. Revelation 7. As I read before in Daniel, okay. Right here, Daniel 7:10. Actually, Son of Man presented 7:14. This is talking about this part here. There was given him dominion and glory in the kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom which shall not be destroyed. So we'll go over here and interlude. It says here, after these things, this is talking about Revelation 6, where where the seals are starting to be broken. Right. So Revelation 6, let me just go over here so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. For those that probably don't know, Revelation 6 is when he's breaking open the seals. Right. So this is the first seal. This is when the white horse is riding. The second seal is the red horse, the horse of war. First horse, many people believe, is the Antichrist. Second is the one of war. Third is the famine. Basically, what do we hear? What do we hear in the news? I mean, what do we actually hear in the news? Let's read this part. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse. And he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts saying, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. Let me just bring this up, just in case you guys don't read the news. Oops. "22 hours ago, the global wheat shortage may be finally coming to an end." 20 hours ago, With world facing a wheat shortage, Argentina farmers struggle. Drought in western Kansas, excuse me, whatever. This is a wheat shortage here. Okay. How wheat shortage is sparking a global food crisis. Just for those, make this connection here. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny. I just found that very fascinating. And of course, we know the the pale horse, is deaf. The rider was deaf. Hell followed, right? But let's get into, while I'm reading Revelation 7, tying it in with Daniel 7:14. Says here, after these things, I saw four angels standing on the four corners of the earth. Somebody said the four corners of the earth. I'm sorry. I got to do this. Somebody said that the four corners of the earth meant directions. Corner, 8 times. Quarter. It doesn't mention north, east, west, or south. It just says corner, an external angle, a corner, an angle, corner or quarter. Go down here to the Greek and Hebrew, or to the Greek lexicon. I don't think they got the Greek lexicon. That, how they got the Hebrew and they telling you all the stuff in that little box. I don't think they got that here. But let's read this. Corner, an external angle. Revelation 7:1. The four extreme limits of the earth. What does it mean when something's limited? But again, I'll just throw that in there. Four corners of the earth, holding the four winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God, and he cried with a loud voice to the four angels to whom it was given given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. This is also going to be mentioned in Revelation chapter 14. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. Then it goes into 12,000 from each tribe, and keep this one short. Then it says here, a multitude from the tribulation. So this is one thing I said before. I believe, me personally, I believe we're all going to experience the tribulation. But when it comes to the wrath, I believe that, basically the Most High is going to protect people throughout the wrath period. As you see how all those things, I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna go into the why I said what I said. It's all here in the book of Revelation. So I believe that people are going to be spared during the wrath period. That's what I believe. Because when you read Old Testament prophecy like Micah, it talks about that stuff, but that'll be another study. So it says here, a multitude from the tribulation. After this, I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations, kindreds, and people, and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands, and cried with a loud voice, saying, Salvation to our God, which sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb. And all the angels stood around about the throne, and about the elders and the four beasts, and fell before the throne on their faces and worshiped God, saying, Amen. Blessing and glory and wisdom and thanksgiving and honor and power and might be unto our God forever and ever. Amen. And I saw one of the elders answered, saying unto me, What are these which are arrayed in white robes, and whence they came? So he's asking them, and the elder's going to tell him. And I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest. No, that's one of the elders asking. And he said unto me, These are they which came out of great tribulation, and have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Therefore are they before the throne of God, and serve him day and night in his temple, and he that sitteth on the throne shall dwell among them. They shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more, neither shall the sun light on them, nor any heat. This is talking about what is going to happen in Revelation 22. Okay. So let's get into the parallel of Daniel. So this is Daniel 7. This is what he's talking about right here in Daniel 7. Talking about this here. So now let's jump on over to Revelation 13. Right. This is still being mentioned in Revelation 7 here. Then I'm gonna go 14, 17, 14, 17, 20, 21, and 22. Because these are the parallels, but what Daniel was talking about. The beast from the sea. Let's go back to Daniel 7 and just get a little recap here. Let's see here. All right. Let's just do the vision interpreted. So these great beasts, which are four kings, which shall rise out of the earth, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron and his nails of brass, which devour and break in pieces and stamp the residue with his feet. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than its fellows. And I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, which was diverse from all kingdoms. It shall devour the whole earth and tread it down and break it in pieces. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. Let's go here. It says here. Well, let me continue a little bit. One more. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and shall think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and dividing of time. Let me see. Is there one more? All right, that's it. So all this summed up is going to be mentioned right here. So let me go back to right here and go through this here. So right here, verse 4, the first beast was like a lion and had eagle's wings. Okay, let's do this here. Stood upon the center of the sea, and I stood upon the center of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads, 10 horns, 10 horns. Go back. Right here was diverse from all the beasts which were before it and had 10 horns. And upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. Here we go right here. The beast and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard. Let me go back up here. Here's the leopard. After this, I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard. The beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear. And I beheld another beast, a second like to a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. The first was like a lion, right here. So it talks about it, and here it talks about him subduing 3 kings, the fourth, right? So, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet was the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon, which we know to be Satan, I forgot to read this one. Sorry. We'll hold to that verse real quick. So as you see, the red dragon is Satan. Okay, so when you read in Revelation, the dragon that gave him his power, his seat, his great authority, that was Satan that gave that, basically the Antichrist. He gave him power. But I wanted to cover this because this was something that happened in 2017. I forgot to touch on this one. Sorry about that, but we're going to cover this real quick. Then I'm going to go back to 13. So it says here, and there appeared a great wonder in heaven. So this is going to happen in the heavens, in the sky. Let me just click on this word for heaven here, so you guys can know. Oranos. So it says the vault expanse of the sky with all things visible in it, the world, the universe, the aerial heavens or sky, the region where the clouds and tempests gather, and where thunder and lightning are produced, the sidereal or starry heavens, the region above the sidereal heavens, the seat of order of things, eternal and consummately perfect, where God dwells, and other heavenly beings. This is what CERN is attempting to do, by the way. So let's go back. So this sign here is going to appear in the heavens. Share real quick, really quick. So I want to show you guys something. I'm going to go to this app called Sky Map. Just give me a second. Let me bring this up. Okay, I'm gonna go to this app called Sky here. Deny. All right. Let me see here. Let me see. All right, where is it? All right, let me share this real quick. I'm gonna show you guys something, because when I make a claim, I always show what I'm talking about here. So we're gonna go and we're gonna find Virgo. Okay, where is Virgo here? Yeah, here we go. All right. So this is Virgo. And Virgo is symbolized as a woman, right? Virgo is symbolized as a woman. This is Leo. Leo is the lion. It originally consists of 9 stars. Okay. Right here is Serpens Caput. This is basically Ophiuchus. It's a two enjoined constellation. So Ophiuchus is this man that wrestles with a serpent. So notice the position of where the serpent is. Notice this constellation, Virgo, is symbolized as a woman. And you guys can go and look this up. Leo is symbolized as the lion. And Libra is in the shape of a house here. This is Libra. So I'm going to do something. We're going to take a little trip back in time. So we're going to change the date to September 23rd. And we're going to go to 2017. We're going to hit OK. And we're going to go to that time period. Now, this is an app. This isn't something that I'm going to make up. And this is not something that, So remember, Leo consists of 9 stars. Let's see here. Let's just do this. What 9? Oops, I'm sorry. I gotta stop sharing this real quick. And let me share this. Sorry about that. Let me go here. Share this. So whenever I make a claim, I could back up my claims here. So what 9 stars make up Leo? So Leo is consists of 9 stars here. And they tell you constellation stars. Leo Sickle, which indicates the stars that form the head and shoulders of the lion, includes 6 stars and was named after a harvesting tool. The 6 stars include these stars, but it's 3 other stars that makes up in it. I'm not going to go into this whole thing. I just wanted to show you that they asked what 9 stars make up Leo. Okay, so there's 9 stars that make up Leo. All right. Now, people, this is where people are going to disagree with me, but there's 3 other stars, right? There's 3 other stars. Let me bring up the sky map. Mercury, Mars, and Venus are stars. They're not planets. They're not something that you can land on. So here you have this would be the head of, right up here, this region here. This would be the head of Virgo, the woman. Okay. This would be the feet of Virgo. Oops, let me go over. This would be the feet right here of Virgo. This would be, this right here would be considered Virgo's womb. And this is the head of the serpent right here. This is the head of the serpent. So let me bring this down and let's go into the scripture here. Let's go into the scripture and let me do something real quick. I see a comment. And she is exactly right. And we're going to read that. Sure, go ahead, Diane. I mean, I'm not worried about it. You go ahead and post the link if you want. Do you got a wrench? Yeah, you got a wrench. You can post a link if you want. But Roseanne Bailey, you're 100% correct, because it says that in this very chapter. You guys will see what I'm talking about in a minute. Oop. Share screen. Go to this screen. All right. So, as I just showed you on that sky map, right? I just showed you on that sky map what it says here, okay? So the woman, Israel, they say the woman is Israel. But this says that it's a sign in the heavens, right? So this is why I look at what the scriptures say. Sometimes these titles don't even add up. So it says, and there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. Let's go back to this. Let me bring this back down. Let's go back to let's examine this real quick. Let's look at this real quick. Because I said that this happened in 2017. This prophecy here has been fulfilled. That first part. So let's go here. It said in scripture, I beheld a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, moon under her feet. Leo consists of 9 stars, with these 3 stars here: Mercury, Mars, Venus, 12 stars. And she being with birth, right? So, it's no coincidences in this world. If we take God's word as true, then, there should be no question about that being fulfilled. And as you see how the world is, totally in shambles, as we see, I mean, it only makes sense, right? So then the red dragon is Satan. And this also ties in with the give me a second. I see my screen went out. All right. So anyway, so let me go back here, because this is Where is this? I think it was. Let me go and Daniel 2. Actually, wait. It was Daniel. Daniel 9. Let's go back to Daniel 9 quick. I keep this a little bit short, like a few chapters go to. Let me see. All right. I heard I was breaking up a little bit. You said I was breaking up a little bit too. Give me a second. I'm about to throw on one of these headphones real quick. Hold on. All right. Thank you, Roseanne. All right. So now let's see here. This is where we get this, right? If this is going to be mentioned, this is going to be mentioned about 3 times in the book of Revelation here, right? And I prayed unto the Lord my God and made my confession and said, O Lord, the great and dreadful God, keeping the covenant and mercy to them that love him and to them that keep his commandments. Many people will say that, you don't got to keep God's commandments anymore or anything like that. But I'm gonna read something in here, and it's totally gonna basically be against what whoever teach that. So the red dragon, Satan, and there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his head. It sounds like the same thing that Daniel was talking about, and then in the next chapter, it's going to mention this. All right. So, and his tail drew a third part of the stars of heaven. Third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. These are basically Satan's angels. When we read down a little bit further, and it talks about, the war in heaven, and did cast them to the earth, and the dragon stood before the woman, which they would say is Israel. That's what it says up here. The woman is Israel. That's what they say. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And then they say the man child is, Christ. And she brought forth a man child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness, and this is this is also mentioned in basically Ezekiel alludes to some Revelation prophecies as well that has not occurred, because we know this has not. This right here, well, the male child happened already, but this thing right here about the wilderness has not happened. Israel fleeing into the wilderness in the end times. So it says here, and the woman fled into the wilderness, where she have a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. Now in Daniel, we read 1,290 days. We got the time frame on that. Let's see what 1,260 days are in years. 3.4 35 calendar years, plus that 35 days would make it 3.5. That's taking that part from Daniel's timeline to 3,000 1,335 days there. So talks about the woman fled. All right, we read that. The angel is Michael. And there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, Satan, and the dragon fought and his angels. Now up here, we see that the dragon, his tail drew a third part of the stars of heaven, cast into the earth, right? So it says here, prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world. And that is literal. Satan deceives the whole world. No one's excluded. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And that's right here. The dragon drawn part of the stars of heaven and casting them to the earth. This is dealing with this part here. War in heaven when he's cast out. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now has come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ. So it's making, we'll leave that alone. It's making a distinction between the Son and the Father, right? For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman. So he persecutes the woman the dragon saw he was cast unto the earth. He persecuted the woman, brought forth out. And the woman were given to him a great evil, that she find into her, where she is for a time and time from the face of the serpent. And this is talking about that part of Daniel. And the serpent was cast out of his, and the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. And the earth helped the woman. Let me see here. Let's go into this word for water here. See what it means. See what it means metaphorically. Let's see. So it says here, water in rivers and fountain pools, water of the deluge, of water in any of the earth repositories, of water as a primary element out of and through which the world that was before the deluge arose and was figuratively used many peoples. That's what we're going to read a little later down the line. So the serpent cast out of his mouth water. All right. Sorry about that. Sorry about that little issue. So I'm gonna try and continue as quick as possible with this. Let's see here. Let's bring this back up to full screen. All right. So it says here, and the earth helped the woman, and the earth was open, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. And the dragon, here's that key right here. Daniel 9, verse 4. And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. So in the last days, there's people that are going to be wrong, and people keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. Now let's go into Revelation 13. Try and make this quick. Revelation 13, I believe. Go back. We'll go back to that real quick. If my connection works, go back to Daniel 7. Revelation 13. Daniel 7. Okay, now let's go back to this fourth beast here. All right, so we're on the fourth beast. Let me know if you guys can hear me fine. Let me see. I don't know if y'all can hear me. All right, I hear myself perfect, so I'm good. So it says here, and I considered the, let me see. Oh, where is it? All right, right here. Right here. Is this it? Anyway, we already went through the beast. I'm trying to find the part where it says that the beast makes war. Let me see. Let me see. Where is it? I think it's down here. Where is it? You know what? I think that's Daniel 10. Let me see. Oh, here it is. Where out the saints of the Most High, I think change times laws. So it's in 7 and 10. I'm gonna try and go to 10 as well. But it says here, the 10 horns out of the kingdom, or 10 kings. We're going to get into that. And he spake great words. This is talk about the beast here. As you see, he spoke very great things. It is Daniel 10. Clouds of heaven concerning boom. Yeah, let's go to Daniel 10 as well. I already went through this, so let's go to Daniel 10. I got that part out of Daniel 10. Then we'll go into Revelation 13. And the reason why I'm doing this is because these are the parallels. Let's see here. Nope, it's Daniel 12. I'm sorry. I think it's Daniel. Let me see. Yeah, let me see if it's Daniel 12. It's one of these. Talks about I ain't want one. Talks about him with the it is 7. I'm sorry. It's 7. Same horn made war with the saints and overcame them, or prevailed against them. Let me see. Oh, right here. Here it is, 721. Right here, 721. I knew it was in 7. But it says here, and I beheld the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them. So Daniel 7 right here. So I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast, and they worshiped the dragon. And we already know who the dragon is. We went over who the dragon is. And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him. And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things. And we see that here. Go back up. So right here it says, I considered the horns. Behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things. Here, verse 8. Then you go down to 21, and 21 is going to come up again in Revelation 13. And they worship. I read that. That was given unto them great things, blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. 4 months is again 3.5 years. And he opened his mouth and blasphemed against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. Verse 7. The same thing mentioned here in verse 21. I beheld the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds, tongues, and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names were not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. After this, I'm going to 17 because We're going to go into 17 and bring up these 10 kings here. And all the world dwell, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names were not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth the sword must kill with the sword. Here is the patience and faith of the saints. And then it's the beast from the earth, who everybody will equate to the false prophet. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, and he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them that dwell therein worship the first beast, whose deadly wounds healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceive them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live, and power to give life unto the beast. And I think, I'm not 100% sure, but many people got these different speculations. I think the image of the beast is going to be an AI or a hologram. One of the two. Because if you look at what's going on with, let's say, artificial intelligence, these humanoid robots, they're basically trying to make them conscience. They're trying to give them a conscience and bring them, basically give them life. As you've seen with Sophia, let's see here. Let's look at what Sophia is up to. Now, this is an old article. Sophia AI robot wants a baby. And you could go and look at all this. Sophia the robot wants a baby. It says family is really whatever. So the world's first humanoid robot citizen, Sophia, has no emotions, but she says she wants a baby. Okay, and this is what the world is coming to. Sophia was basically turned on in 2017. And it says here, the robot who was granted citizenship in Saudi Arabia in October now to take the next human step, having a child. So this is them trying to, basically, if God created man in his image, if God created man in his image after his likeness, then it would make sense that the Antichrist would also want to make an image in his likeness. So there's that. I won't speak too much on it, but you guys could put two and two together with that. That they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by the sword and did live, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And then we understand the whole mark, right? And we're going to go into Revelation 14, and we're going to see that whole thing. And Daniel 2 also mentioned about them keeping his commandments. And Daniel 2 showing mercy to those that love him and to those that keep his commandments. Because all marking their right hand and forehead, that no man might. So it's smart. They're using it on sale. Having the beast of the name, have the number of the beast for the number of man. His number is 606. Turn logo. A bunch of stuff. Monster, energy drink, the triple vibe, Hebrew. Next chapter, on chapter 14 here. Hello, Gaia. Long time no hear, sister. How you doing? How are you and Daniel? Let me see if I could get this connection working. Yeah, Diane, I know I'm cutting out. It always happens when I talk about this stuff. It's nothing new with me, so let me see if I could do something real quick. All right, let me see here. Let me see how this is working. We're all right. We're okay over here, Gaia. All right. So you guys can hear me. All right. So let's see here. Go back full screen. I'm going to do 17, 20, and 17, 20, 21, 22, and then I'll be off here. Seeing as my connection is going to be messing up a little bit. So let's go here. Revelation 14. So as I said before, Revelation 7 talks about the 144,000 and all those other nations on Mount Zion. So it says here, and I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his father's names written in their forehead, in Revelation 7. And I heard a voice from heaven, as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps, and they sung as it were a new song before the throne and before the four beasts and the elders, and no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. These are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. And I believe this is three classes of people, because you look at this word for redeemed in the Greek. We'll go into that in a minute. Let's just read. These are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto God and to the Lamb. Let's go into this word for redeemed. Agordazo, I believe that is, of idle people. Oh no. So it says here by redeem, by implication to purchase. All right, redeem. Let's see if we get anything, because this is talk about marketplaces and of idle people to hunt the marketplace, lounge there. That doesn't fit according to the context of it. So let's see. Let's find where Revelation 13 is. Actually, 14. So it's right here figuratively, which it doesn't even say up here. It doesn't have the figurative definition here. So we're going to read this figurative definition. So it says here, figuratively, Christ is said to have purchased his disciples, i.e., made them, as it were, his private property. And it goes into 1 Corinthians 6:20. This is commonly understood of God, but, and it says John 17:9-10, 1 Corinthians 7, with the genitive of price added, and this is in Peter. He is also said to have bought them for God by shedding his blood. So this is talking about the remission of sins. Revelation 5:9. They too are spoken of as purchased. Revelation 14:3 and 14:4. So that they are withdrawn from the earth and its miseries from wicked men, but does not mean redeem as is commonly said. So this is talking about that whole part. So these people were redeemed with his blood. That means they were forgiven of their sins, if we know what Christ's blood was shed for. So I would say this is, classified as different groups of people. There's one group that was not defiled with women, for they are virgins. And there's another group that followed the Lamb wherever he goes. And there was another group that was redeemed by his blood, and so on and so forth. And in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of God. So we understand that, everybody in the world sins. So if they're redeemed and their sins are wiped away, of course they're not going to be of course they are without fault, right? So the vision of the angel with the gospel. So this is where Revelation 13 picks up, and we'll see that these people that don't take the mark it's a very fascinating thing that these people are doing. And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people, saying with a loud voice, fear God and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth. This is mentioned in Genesis 1. We understand he created the heavens and the earth and the sea and the fountains of water. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she had made all nations drink the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Then it says, doom for worshipers of the beast. So we're going to find out what's the patience of these saints here. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast in his image, and whosoever receive the mark of his name. Here's the very interesting part here. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. So you got to have both. That's what this basically says. If it's not biblical, if it doesn't talk about what it means in the scriptures, most people have their speculations, but I'm gonna read these plain words written here. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, write, blessed are the dead which die in the Lord from henceforth. Yeah, saith the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors. This is the rest that it talks about when, Christ gives them rest, that they may rest from their labors and their works do follow them. And it talks about the reapers. And I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and upon the cloud one set like unto the Son of Man, having in his hand a golden crown, on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. And this is what I believe is going to be the wheat and the tare, the separation of the sheep and the goats, those parables, the parable of the what is that? The parable of the parable of the trees, the tree that bears good fruit, and the good tree cannot bear evil fruit, stuff like that. When he says, whatsoever tree was not planted by my heavenly Father shall be rooted up. That part. And another angel came out of the temple crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, thrust in thy sickle and reap, for the time is come for thee to reap, and this is the harvest. For the harvest of the earth is ripe. And he that sat on the cloud thrust in his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped. And another angel came out of the temple which is in heaven, he also having a sharp sickle. And another angel came out from the altar, which had power over fire, and cried with a loud cry to him that had the sharp sickle, saying, thrust in thy sharp sickle, and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe. And the angel thrust in his sickle into the earth, and gathered the vine of the earth, and cast it into the great winepress of the wrath of God. And the winepress was trodden without the city, and blood came out of the winepress, even unto the horses' bridles, by the space of 1,600 furlongs. And we're going to go into, let's see here. All right, so Daniel 17. Let's go into not Daniel 17, Revelation 17. I'm sorry. And we're going to go into this about these kings. We're just going to all the parallels with what Daniel was talking about and what John saw. It says the same thing. So let's cover this one right here. And the 10 kings out of this kingdom are the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. This is the same thing here. Excuse me. All right. So, the doom of Babylon. And this is not talking about ancient Babylon. Ancient Babylon was already destroyed. And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore which sitteth upon many waters. And we're gonna get the interpretation of all this. Okay, the waters are many peoples, nations, kindreds, and tongues. So let's just say what nation fits that. Let's continue though. With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet colored beast, full of names of blasphemies, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Again, Daniel sees this. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of the abomination and filthiness of her fornication. and upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath 7 heads, the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world. And I believe that's talked about in Daniel. Where is that? Where is that? Let's see. It's in Daniel. I think it's in Daniel 10. I think this part is in Daniel 10. I think I read it in Daniel 10 where it talks about, let's see here. Oh, it was in Daniel 12. I'm sorry. It's Daniel 12. It says here. I think it is still in Daniel 7. I'm sorry, guys. Give me a second. I'm trying to find that other one I wanted to bring up. I believe it is still in Daniel 7. I'm not sure. Let me see here. It talked about it somewhere. Boom, boom, boom. So this Daniel 7:10 is talking about the judgment. So let's see. Let me see. Where is that at? Let's see. It's in here somewhere. All right, I gotta find. I think it was in Daniel 7 or 2 or something like that. Anyway, I'm not gonna stay on that for too long, but talks about the beast. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. So the Antichrist was, then he was not, and then yet is. Okay, and then here is the mind which hath wisdom. The heavens, the 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. And when we look at this word for mountains here, people will say this is dealing with the 7 hills of Rome and all that other stuff. But this is talking about 7 literal mountains. When you go in here, a mountain, Revelation 6. Come on. Where is this at? All right, so they don't have Revelation 14 listed, but it's talking about a mountain. It's literally talking about 7 mountains. Yeah, Revelation 17 ain't mentioned there. I don't know why they don't got it there. But anyway, 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. And if you look up the United States, there are, yeah, well, 7 mountains, literal 7 mountains. Let's see, 7 mountains. Yeah, I had looked this stuff up a while back. Let's see here. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, it's not at the top of the search feed anymore. Oh, here it is. The 7 biggest mountains in the United States are all basically, they talk about the 7 mountains here. I just want you guys to, look at that stuff. Okay, so this nation is called Babylon, Mystery Babylon the Great. Talks about it being a diverse nation, so on and so forth. But just pure speculation, just a little speculation here, nothing to be worried about. But just find it fascinating that it's 7 mountains. Rome only has 7 hills. When you look up Rome don't even have 7 mountains. Okay, and we know that these are literal mountains based off this word. So it says, and there were 7 kings. There are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. And the beast that and the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. And the 10 horns, here we go. Let's go back to Daniel. Right here, Daniel 7:20. No, that's not it. Right here, 24. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them. So this 10 horns is 10 kings here. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, and but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. It talks about the victory of the Lamb. We know who the Lamb is. This is what I'm saying. This is another thing too. Revelation 19. Revelation 19 talks about this right here. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of God shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. So it's a great city that reigns over the kings of the earth. Let's see here. This great city. Let's see what this says. We know it's not talking about the heavenly Jerusalem. We know it's not talking about that. The inhabitants of a city are one's native city, the city in which one lives. We know it's not talking about the heavenly Jerusalem. We know it's not the abode of the blessed in heaven, because this talks about we know it's not talking about this, because this is talking about, a woman. She's described as a harlot. So we know it's not talking about, the kingdom here. And this is another thing, because people actually believe they actually think that it's not going to be a literal city coming down, when it says it right here, of the visible capital in the heavenly kingdom to come down to earth after the renovation of the world by fire. So we're going to read that. Let's get 19, 20. Actually, I'm going to just skim through 19 a little bit. No, I'm not going to skim through 19. I'm just going to give you guys a little summary. So I said I was going to do 17, 18. Nah, I'll skip 18. I'll do 19. Because that also talks about in Daniel. 18 is just talking about the fall of Babylon and all the stuff that's going to happen. I'm going to go down. So this is talking about the marriage of the Lamb. Here we go. The coming of Christ. Because this was talking about Daniel 7. Let's go back up. Let's go back up. Here it is. Son of Man presented. And it talks about it right here. And I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him there before him. And there was given him dominion, glory, and the kingdom, that all people, nations, languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. So this is what this is right here. So this is when he comes back. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doeth judge and make war. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of God. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp two-edged sword, that with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. This is also alluding to Revelation 12. And he tread the winepress. This is Revelation 17. Of the fierceness and wrath of Almighty God. This is the wrath period. Revelation 19, or actually Revelation 17 is when the wrath starts. Revelation 16 is when his wrath starts. And let's see here, just to show you that, because that's the part where I said people are going to be protected during the wrath period. And I'll just show you that right now. As soon as it's low. All right, so Revelation 16. The reason why I said what I said earlier about people being protected during the wrath. So it says here, and this is where I said Revelation 16 is when the wrath starts. And one thing I find very fascinating during this part of God's wrath upon the earth is that the Euphrates River is going to dry up, which is currently happening. Let's see here. Just for purposes of edification, and so people, when I make a claim, I'm always going to back my claim. Euphrates River drying up. Okay. So as you see here, Euphrates River completely drying up. End time prophecy. This is a video somebody made. And they say, is it true that the Euphrates is it true that River Euphrates is drying up? Let's click this. Iraq's Tigris and Euphrates River could run dry by 2040 because of declining water levels and so-called climate change. They're always going to tell you that. And then it says here, when did the Euphrates River start drying up? Find this year very fascinating. They say, well, it don't say here. They just going to say this actually didn't start happening until 2020, but they're going back all the way to 2006. Though we have not heard news about it. Let's see here. So as you see, since they're talking about it. Euphrates River is extremely drying up in Syria and Iraq 2022. This actually started happening in 2020, but they date it back as far as 2006, which I have not found any articles on until as of recent. So you see this whole thing they're talking about the Euphrates River drying up and all this good stuff. So, like I said, Revelation 16, I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the seven angels, go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of God upon the earth. And we see that these vials are the wrath. When you go into the trumpets, you go into the seals being broken, those wasn't a part of the wrath. I believe that was a part of, the tribulation period. But the reason why I said what I said about people being protected during the wrath period, where is this at? Says here, where is this? Where is that at? I believe that was Revelation 6. So I probably might be a little off. Yeah, that was Revelation 6, not 16. But dealing with the wrath part, when I just showed y'all about the Euphrates River and the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the river thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. And I saw three unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and up to the whole world to gather them to battle, to the battle of the great day of God Almighty. This is going to be in Revelation 19. Because he says here, bless and behold, I come as a thief, blessed is he that watch and keepeth his garment, blessed he walk and they see his shame. And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. So the battle of Armageddon is going to be when the beast and his armies go to war with Christ when he comes back. And I'm going to go back to Revelation 19. So Revelation 19. Revelation 19. This is talking about the battle of Armageddon here. All right, so read that. And I read this. And he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings, Lord of Lords. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourselves unto the supper of the great God, that ye may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. And here it is. And all the beasts and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat upon the horse and against his army. So the kings of the earth and the Antichrist are going to go to war with Christ. And then it talks about the false prophet and the beast. This is also talking about in Daniel, the what happens to the beast. Let's see. Where is that at? I believe it's down here. No, it's up here. It's up here somewhere. Here it is, right here. Daniel 7:11. And I beheld then, because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake, I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed and given to the burning flame. This is what it says right here. The doom of the beast and the false prophet. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive into a lake of fire burning with brimstone, and the remnant were slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, which sword proceeded out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh. Now this one is going to be getting into Daniel 12, and then this is the parallels of Daniel 12 and Revelation. As you see here, talks about Michael. That was read in that was read in this was what it was. Daniel 12:1. Talking about the book of life right here, everyone that shall be found written in the book. We understand that Michael, when he stands up and it's the time of trouble, this is when Revelation 12 is going to be fulfilled, as we just read in Revelation 12, when it said that the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make remnant with her seed, that keep the commandments of God and the testimony of Jesus Christ or whatever. Now this is going to be getting into the book of life, the resurrections, and the kingdom, the New Jerusalem. So Revelation 20 is right here. We're going to read this first, make this parallel. So it'll be 1 and 2. It says, at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. And this is what this is talking about: Satan bound. It says, I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand, and laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season. And also, this is talking about the battle of Gog and Magog is going to happen at this time after Satan is loose. Battle of Gog and Magog is described in Ezekiel 38. So says, and cast them into a bottomless pit and shut them up and set a seal upon them. They should deceive the nations no more till 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season. And I saw thrones and them, and they that sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus, for the word of God, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. But the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death hath no power, but they shall be priests of God and of Christ, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. Then you see this is Satan freed and doomed. And right here is Ezekiel 38, talks about the battle of Gog and Magog. Also Ezekiel 39. This is when those two are going to be fulfilled. And if you guys missed that, you could go and check out my Battle of Armageddon and Gog and Magog. Let me just show you. Let me bring this down. Let me show you the video you could check out about me making the parallels between Gog and Magog and how it's going to be fulfilled after the first resurrection, when Satan's loosed out of his out of the pit, basically. So go to my channel. I'm gonna show you guys the video that you could go watch. I don't know if it's laggy, but the reason why I'm not going to do that study here is because I already did it. And if you want to go and check it out, let me see. If you want to go and check it out, you can go here, where I made the parallel to Ezekiel 38 and the coming battle of Armageddon. This is talking about how Ezekiel 38 and 39 will be fulfilled in Revelation 20. And yeah, in the battle of the Revelation, the Ezekiel 39 is going to be fulfilled in Revelation 19, I believe. I said it in there. So that's where I have that study up. Shalom, Yasun. I see you in the chat. So let me continue with this. And let me see here. Share screen. All right. So finish this up. We got 2 more chapters to go. So as you see, you guys go check that out if you want. So it says, when 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed of his prison. So this is when Gog and Magog is going to happen. And shall go out to see nations which are in the 4 quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is the sand of the sea. And the reason why, I'm just going to bring this up real quick. Let me bring this up. Let's click on Magog here, because a lot of people have a little bit of a problem with who Magog is. A lot of people think it's Russia and all that stuff, but so as you see here, Magog is mentioned once in the New Testament. Magog equals overtopping, covering a land north of Israel from which the king of Gog will come to attack Israel. Now, that doesn't tell us too much, but let's go here. Let me bring up another tab here so I don't deviate from the tab that I'm already on. Let's go here. Let's go to Ezekiel 38. And this is where you're gonna see this whole thing here. This is the battle of Gog and Magog. So you go here, you hit this Hebrew word for Magog. And it's the same word, but it gives you a little bit more. So it says Magog, land of Gog, the second son of Japheth, grandson of Noah, and the progenitor of several tribes northward from Israel, or, what people call the land of Israel right now. The mountainous region between Cappadocia and Media, and habitation of the descendants of Magog, the son of Japheth, and grandson of Noah. So when you read this through, you get all these people. You get Magog, you get Meshech, Tubal. In this battle, Persian, Ethiopia, Libya is going to be with them. You got Gomer, and the reason why I said what I said about this. Let's look at Gomer here. Gomer equals complete. The eldest son of Japheth and grandson of Noah, the progenitor of the early Cimmerians, or whatever, Cimmerians. That's what that says. And other branches of the Celtic family, the unfaithful wife of. So this is talking about the feminine pronoun. This is the masculine here. So you see here the name of a son of Japheth and of his descendants, Gomer. Right? But when you go, let me see, right here, right, says son of Japheth, Genesis 10, and then also in 1 Chronicles 5. And look at these names, the son of Japheth, sons of Japheth, Gomer and Magog, and Madai and Javan and Tubal, Meshech and Teres. When you go over to Ezekiel 38, oops, wrong one. Ezekiel 38 is here. So when you go here, you got Togarmah, you got Meshech and Tubal, sons of Japheth. You got Gomer, also another son of Japheth, all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters. And this says, probably of Hebrew word 5062, through the idea of impending a cover or heap, i.e. only plural, wings of an army, or crowds of troops, bands. And yeah. So this is what I did that whole study on. And, it talks about the families of the north. And as you see on that thumbnail, it shows where they came from, which is actually north of Israel. And let me just bring that up before I continue on with Revelation 20, the Table of Nations map. And this is a map that they put together. It's not my map, but this is what they say. Magog, this is all Japheth. As you see, the descendants of Japheth. You see all these people that's mentioned as going to be in the, basically in the battle of Gog and Magog here. After the second resurrection, right here. So, and they went up on the breadth of the earth and encompassed the camp of the saints about and the beloved city, and the fire came down from God out of heaven and devoured them. And the devil that deceived them was cast to a lake of fire. And this is another problem that people got. People think that the Antichrist is Satan and dwell in the Antichrist. But if that's true, then when the Antichrist and the false prophet are cast into the lake of fire, that would mean that Satan gets cast in at the same time, which doesn't happen. Because it says right here, and the devil that deceived them was cast into a lake, the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast, the Antichrist, and the false prophet are. So they're already there. And shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. And it says this is the judgment at God's throne. This is what we see right here. The second resurrection, the first one, is the ones that don't take the mark, don't worship the image of the beast or the beast himself. Second resurrection is the shame and everlasting contempt. This is what it says. And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and heaven fled away, and there was found no place for them. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God, and the books were open. Let's see here. This is also in Daniel 7. Let's go back to Daniel 7. Let's see here. Daniel 7. Right here, Daniel 7:10. Let's start at 9. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were open. And that's what it says right here. I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God, and the books were open, and another book was open, which is the book of life. And this book of life is mentioned in Daniel 12. Daniel 12 talks about this part right here. And at that time, thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book. And then you see here, I saw the dead, small and great stand before God, and the books were open, and another book was open, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books according to their works. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them, and they were judged every man according to their works. And the dead and death and hell were cast to the lake of fire. This is the second death. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast to the lake of fire, which we read in Revelation 14. And let me see, Revelation 21. What was I going to say? Yeah, Revelation 21. Oh, I forgot what I was about to say. So anyway, Revelation 21 talks about the new heaven, new earth, New Jerusalem coming. Let me see. Was that in Daniel 12? I think that's what I was about to say. Yeah, I don't know what I was going to say about that. It's probably like Daniel 10. Let me see if it's in Daniel 10. It was something that I was going to here for Daniel. Daniel 10. Let's see. Daniel 10. Daniel comforted. No, it's not Daniel 10. I think it's Daniel 7 still. Let me see. So it's in Daniel 7. Let's see. Daniel 7. I think it's all the way at the end. Yeah, here it is. Let me see. Let's talk about that. Yeah, I forgot what I was going to bring up. Yeah, I forgot what I was going to do with this. But yeah, so I'm going to read this anyway. I forgot what I was going to. Let me see if I can find this somewhere. So let's talk about New Jerusalem, talks about the gates and South Gate and stuff. I forgot what I was going to bring up in Daniel about this. Oh, Daniel 12. Duh. Daniel 12. About that part that, let me see. Daniel 12. Let's see here. Daniel 12. Here. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament. It was talking about something about the sun not shining on them or something. Yeah, I forgot which one it was. I'm not going to stay on it too long. But anyway, it's in here. It's talking about the light of the sun. The light of the sun shall not shine. I think that is 10. Let me go back to 10 real quick. I'm sorry. I'm almost done after this anyway. Daniel 10. There's something about the sun not shining on them. And that's mentioned here. Let's see. Gee, I forgot where it is. I gotta go through this again. Or it could have been in 9. Let me see if it's in 9, because I don't see it here. Let me see. I know I read 9, parts of 9. Yeah, it's in 9, I think. My bad. Give me a second. I gotta find this. Yeah, let me see. Is it 9? I think it's here. No, it ain't. Oh well. I forgot where I was going. I forgot where I was going with that part. But anyway. So I saw a new heaven and new earth. For the first heaven and first earth will pass away, and there was no more sea. I'm just going to read it and see if I can remember where this is in Daniel I was trying to get to. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them. They shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them, and be their God. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things pass away. He that sat upon the throne said, behold, I make all things new. He said unto me, write, for these words are true and faithful. And he said unto me, it is done. I'm Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, and I will give unto him that has a thirst of the fountain of the water of life freely. He that overcomes shall inherit all things, and I will be his God, and he shall be my son. But the fearful and the unbelieving and the abominable and the murderers and the whoremongers and the sorcerers and the idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burn with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. And there came, all right, I forgot where I was going to go with this. So let's talk about the city and the measurements. Yeah, it has something to do with the sun not shining and stuff. I read it in Daniel. Anyway. It was something I was going to be talking about. Let me see what 20, I think it was 22. Let me see if it's in 22. Well, actually, I think that I was talking about let me see. Oh, that's what it was. I was touching on that part, Daniel 2. That's what it was about. All right. Let me see. Daniel 2. Let's just go to Daniel 2 real quick. I believe it was in there. I think it was 21 I was going to talk about. The three places, the three places where it's found at in the New Testament, that the New Testament where they're going to be basically in the last days keeping the commandments of God. I already went through two of them in Revelation 12, 14, and then this one is in 22. Let me see. Where is this at? No, it's 7:10. Daniel 7. Sorry about that, y'all. I'm all mixed up. I didn't went through all these chapters and I forgot where I was at. I think it's Daniel 7:10. Or something like that. 7:10, 7:24, something like that. 7:10. Let's see. No, it's not there. It's in Daniel 2, I think. I think it is in Daniel 2. I think it's Daniel 2:24 or something like that. Let me see. Let's see. I know it's, let me go back. Let me do this real quick. I'll remember if I see that title. Let's see, it's in Daniel 2. Let me see. Oop, I didn't mean to click that. Where is it? This talks about the king's dream. I think it was down here. Oh, where was it? Anyway, I probably forgot where it was. Yeah, that talks about the dream. Let me see. It's probably Daniel 10:24, I believe. I'm not even sure. Let me see. Yeah, I think it is 10:24. It ain't even no 24 here. I'm sorry. Anyway, I just wanted to touch on the 3 parts in the New Testament where it talks about them keeping the commandments still. So here it was somewhere in Daniel when it says something about showing. Let me bring this up real quick. Let me find it real quick. I'm gonna get back to it in a minute. Just give me 1 second. Let me see. I know it's in Daniel. This is going to be the last one. I just want to show these parallels real quick. It was Daniel 9. Duh. I was just there too. It's in verse 4. All right. So there it is. Sorry about that. I was trying to find that. So Daniel 9:4. All right. All right, so it wasn't Daniel. I knew it was in 9 because I was reading something about it. So this is what I was talking about. When I was saying, it says here, and I prayed unto the Lord my God and made my confession and said, O Lord, the great and dreadful God, keeping the covenant and mercy of them, keeping the covenant and mercy to them that love him and to them that keep his commandments. This was the parallel, and I was saying that is found in Revelation 12. We're going to go a little recap where it talks about right here. Ooh, Daniel 12, what is that? Oh, duh, I put Daniel in and not Revelation. My bad. So Revelation 12, this is one of the parts that I covered. And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. Then again in Revelation 14, talks about, go back, Revelation 14, and then we're going to go to this 22 and read 22, and I'm going to get off here. Revelation 14, right here under worshipers of the beast's doom, talks about third angel, and it says, here's the patience and the faith of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and have the faith of Jesus. And then we're going to get it right here in Revelation 22, 3 spots where it's mentioned. So let's go up. And he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of God and out of the Lamb, and in the midst of the street of it, and on either side of the river. This is what Daniel was looking when. I'm going to continue. Was there the tree of life, which bare 12 manners of fruit, and yielded her fruit every month, and the leaves of the trees were for the healing of the nation. Somebody told me some crap like, we're the ones that's going to be bearing the fruit, and we're going to be healing the nations, or something to that effect. You guys can go check out that discussion I had with Osh. And there shall be no more curse, but the throne of God and of the Lamb shall be in it, and his servants shall serve him. This is also mentioned in Daniel. And they shall see his face, and his name shall be in their foreheads. This is talking about Revelation 7 and 14, about the 144,000. And there shall be no night there. See, this is the part where let me see. I think that was Daniel 9. I'm not going to go back and try and find it, but it was somewhere in Daniel where it's talking about they won't need the light of the sun or something like that to that effect. Or you guys could rewatch it. You'll see it in the beginning. And there shall be no night there, and they need no candle, neither the light of the sun, for the Lord God giveth them light, and they shall reign forever and ever. And he said unto me, these things are faithful and true, and the Lord God of the holy prophets sent his angel to show unto his servant things which must shortly be done. Behold, I come quickly. Blessed is he that keepeth the sayings of the prophecy of this book. And I, John, saw these things and heard them. And when I had heard and seen, I fell down to worship before the feet of the angel, which showed me these things. And he said unto me, see thou do it not, for I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren, the prophets, and them which keep the sayings of this book, worship God. Final message. This is where it's talking about the keeping of the commandments here. And he said unto me, seal not the sayings of the prophecy of this book, for the time is at hand. And if you notice, Daniel was told to seal up the prophecy until the time of the end, but John here is being told not to seal it up. He that is unjust, let him be unjust still. He which is filthy, let him be filthy still. And he that is righteous, let him be righteous still. And he that is holy, let him be holy still. And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according as his work shall be. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. Here it is right here. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life and may enter in through the gates into the city. And then it says, for without are dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters and whosoever. I, Jesus, have sent mine angel to testify unto these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David and the bright and morning star. Some people say this verse talks about, they make up this twisted, perverted thing saying that this verse right here means Christ is basically Lucifer, and that Lucifer is called the son of the morning, not the morning star. So there's the difference. And the Spirit and the bride say, come, and let him that heareth say, come, and let him that is athirst come, and whosoever will, let him take of the water of life freely. For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book. If any man shall add unto these things, God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. And this is why I think he's talking about the whole book. I don't think he's talking about the book of Revelation only, because Daniel had the same Ezekiel, or he was told about Gog and Magog. A couple of places I won't get because it'll be a long live. It's already been 3 hours and 14 minutes. But it talks about them having, whoever adds to these will, God shall add some plagues that are written in his book. And if any man shall take away the words of the book of his prophecy, God shall take away his part out of the book of life and out of the holy city and from the things written in his book. He which testified these things, that surely I come quickly. Amen. Even so come Lord Jesus. The grace of our Lord Jesus Christ be with you all. Amen. So I just wanted to go into all that because I see all those parallels from the Old Testament. And, some people say that You know, you don't have to do some of this stuff or anything like that. When Melvin is done, man, over the right channel. I'm done right now. I'm about to go and get my leftover steak and some other stuff because I'm hungry. I ain't ate since I started this live. But anyway, shalom, everybody, and hope you have a blessed Shabbat if you keep it. And to the rest of y'all, have a blessed day.